The MO in every September is a 40. The MO tells us how life is about to help us get to the birth number states of a month or a period. Remembering that the birth numbers for September 2024 generically is 9 and specifically is 2033, which reduces to 8. The MO every September is a 40, which reduces to 4. In September 2024, we get a specific MO of 143, which reduces to 8. So if you've already played the birth number recording, hopefully, you would have just discovered that the specific birth number for September is also an 8. So we've got 2 8s lining up in the 3 dynamic chart specifically for September 2024. So that already is telling, because it's saying that, you know what, 8s are going to feature. The 8 dynamics are going to feature. Yeah, louder quite possibly than usual. Yeah, that doesn't mean bad. It just means, again, if it gets busy, if it stays busy, because, of course, again, August was 3 8s as well. Yeah, so if it stays busy, if life continues to press you to sort things out and get things sorted, it may be even at times in a way that, you know what, universe, can I just have a breather? Don't be surprised. Don't take it personally. You won't be alone in experiencing that. Know that you're being squeezed so as to get as much out of you in this moment so that the rest of your life can be even better again, because that's how life works. Anyway, if we come back to the MOs for September 2024, every September we get a 40, which reduces to 4. 40 is an interesting number because it's got a 0, it's a master number. 4 is the number of building, it's the number of models, assumptions, foundations, frameworks, approaches, habits, methodologies. Assumptions, I think I said that word, projections even. So 4 is the number of building, because of course we build everything based on all that the list of words that I just mentioned. Yeah, everything we do drives from our assumptions, from our models, from our logics, from our habits, from our patterns, from our approaches. Yeah. And so 4 can be a time that helps us review those things. And through that, it's a time that helps us audit them, amend them, tidy them up, tighten them, even quite possibly reject them totally and find whole new ones. So 4 is the builder. 4 is you could even say 4 is the investor. But 4 is also the reaper, because 4 is that moment that helps us get our launch pad right, solid, quality, to last into the future in a way that, as in long-term, last. 4 is, what are you building with? What are you building with? What are you running with? Yeah. And how are you presenting in a way that therefore is also, how are you impacting not only what you're offering, but also everybody else in terms of by how you're offering. Hope I make sense when I say those things. So 40 is a time, again, 0 can ask us for space. 0 can be the universe turning around and saying, woohoo, I'm real. It's time for you to get to know me a bit more. Tap, tap, tap on the shoulder, or even just stop. Hello, I'm going to sort of slow you down in your day and ask you to focus in on your spiritual self, your spiritual discipline, your spiritual well-being, and therefore your energetic and intuitive health. And even that is an interesting point because, of course, for at least the last few months, it's been really hard to stay in connection spiritually. You know, when life gets relentless, and at the end of the day, this is an 8-year, even if we know this, 8 years can feel relentless. 8 years can feel like you're continuously hot pokered with one thing after another. They can feel a bit unkind. And yet, through these things, the universe, again, helps us to get our approaches right. It teaches us to look after ourselves on a spiritual level. It teaches us that we are receivers, that we're not just agents of action. We're not just influencers and makers and doers. We're also receivers. And that actually to make and do and influence well, we have to actually first take in the right energy so as to then pump it out in all the ways that we do. So 0 in the 40 can therefore talk about the fact that this month we are here to learn about our frameworks, realise where they need to be overhauled, amended, just tweaked a bit, or even rewarded for what they are. Mm-hmm. And also through that, take the time to connect through that learning. And as we learn, take the time to connect, to get a really good download intuitively, spiritually on the big picture, to then come to a place of understanding, because 4 is understanding. It's not just I understand, it's also how I help everybody else understand, I as in all of us, how we each of us can help each other understand by positioning ourselves well, by mooring in the right stuff, by coming from a solid, grounded perspective, rather than acting like ping pong balls or reactive beings, as an 8-year can make us feel. So 40 asks us to work through those dynamics, and through that we get to 4 again. And what I mean by that is through learning about and through our approaches, we come and working well with universal and spiritual dynamics and self, we then come to present a whole new level of foundation, a whole new level of approach that is more spiritual than it was before, and also build on that. So we move forward to build on that. And bear with me, all right, so I'm talking a lot about 4s and from those angles, but 4 is actually just building. 4 and 8 even, and that's interesting because this month we see 7 4s. That's a lot. That's heaps, actually. And we also see again 3 8s. And so both of those numbers, they're building numbers. So it could well be that September for you starts to feel quite breakthrough-ish, relative to perhaps August and July, if not earlier months. Yes, all right, we're getting closer towards the end of the year, so that makes sense as a statement. But also too, when 4s and 7s work together, things can start to feel as if they are coming together more and more, whether that be just intuitively or just perceptually, just on a planning level. And even that's interesting because 7 and 8 are planning numbers, visualizing numbers, getting organized numbers. Not just doing spheres. So they can either play out, they can either play out as periods that just help us get ready for takeoff, and 4 is very much about that. It's the moment before the rocket launch. Or they are moments where not only do we get tighter about how we're going to launch and get our launch pad in order for that launch, but also things start to build. We start to attract, we start to build, whether that's financially, energetically, perceptually, physically, whatever, materially. So this has the potential to be quite a positive month, depending on how we interface with it. So specifically then, let's have a look at the MO for September 2024. It's 143, which reduces to 8. So you've got another 4 there, to take into account. So that means repetition on everything I've just run through. But again, we've got another 8, which means repetition on what I said about the birth number, as well as, hello, there's that tooth, as well as being 8 in itself for the MO in September. So again, what did I mean by saying that just then? Again, September, definitely it's going to be a time that continues to help us pull things together well to the next level as life what it wants it to be. To the degree that we still have things that we have to come into connection with so as to achieve that as an overall big picture, future building and future attracting time in a good sense, then life's going to get a bit squeezy still. To the degree that you've already sort of been working through that, Yeah, don't be surprised if momentum starts to gather this month in a way that things start to perhaps feel more solid than they have been. Numbers never speak of givens. You can't just say, 8 means success, it's going to come to you this month. Yeah. And even that, though, is a furphy because, 8 can come to us as success, as the concept, as a realization, as the light bulb moment that then attracts it in the next phase. So there's so many ways to read numbers. That's sort of why they're so sexy. But know these things, know that through all of this, life is trying to steer us all to where it knows we can be in a way that we are really going to enjoy it. We're really going to benefit from that, and we're going to do that as a collective. And at the end of the day, the focus now is increasingly on collective success, not just individual. And so wherever we are still coming out of the 1900s, not because they were wholly bad, but the 1900s and even the thousands period, it taught us to focus on ourselves. Nothing wrong with that in measure, nothing wrong with that in balance. But at the moment, we are undoing all of the things that the thousands, from 1000 through to 1999 and beyond, got us sort of thinking we could get away with in a way that we didn't have to think so much about balance for everything: planet, nature, animals, spirit realm, energy, not just ourselves.